Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule today. Welcome to the Radical Cloud Solution webinar for Google Workspace. Really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule today, so thank you once again. Let me start off by introducing myself. My name is James Horton, and I am the COO of Radical Cloud Solutions. Radical Cloud Solutions was established a little over 13 years ago and was founded by our CEO, Mark Horton, as a cloud-native IT management company, providing cloud-based solutions throughout the whole of Africa. Radical Cloud Solutions specializes in point-of-sale system, inventory management, website design, digital marketing, cybersecurity, and much, much more. Our core primary focus, however, is Google and Google Workspace, and we are one of the up-and-coming market leaders throughout Africa, winning accolades in 2021 for the most logos signed and the most potential Google partner for growth. Next, I'd like to introduce DigiCloud. DigiCloud is a Google partner distributor, meaning they support partners like Radical Cloud Solution in the progressive growth through the Google Growth Ladder. Today, we have two very distinguished guests from DigiCloud who will be presenting with us. First one is Nick Turner, who is a senior Google customer engineer, and Candice Erasmus, who is an education and change management and training leader. Nick and Candice together have a combined experience of 23 years with Google and are an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to Google products and especially Google Workspace. As mentioned before, we're going to be touching upon Google Workspace today. This is not just a simple mailing system that can be overlooked as just another competitor in the market. Google is one of the most amazing market leaders in today's safety, security, and productivity. We're now going to hand over to Nick and Candice, who will dive a little bit deeper into the Google Workspace admin panel and show us some tips and tricks of how Google can be used to increase your productivity and security on a daily basis. Topics we will be touching upon today is security, backup, reporting, tips and tricks, and most importantly, pricing. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Nick, who will be taking us on some of these amazing features. And at the end, please remember, we will have a Q&A where we would like to hear from you and answer any of the questions you may have on today's topics. So thank you very much. Nick, if I can hand it over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, James. Appreciate it. So I've just started sharing my tab, so everyone should see the same presentation. And yeah, just first of all, thank you, James. And I'd like to welcome everyone to this webinar. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We know that everyone has been very busy, especially over the last couple of years, especially if you're not running Google Workspace, because when you run Google Workspace, everything becomes a little bit easier. So my name is Nick, and I'm a deployment specialist for Google Workspace, and I've been deploying Google Workspace for 10 years now in organizations ranging from 1 user to 12,000 users. And I've done all sorts of integrations into third-party systems and legacy Microsoft systems alike. Today, what I want to focus on, as James mentioned, is more the administrative functionalities that you get with Google Workspace and features I'd like to see customers use more often than what they do. But first, where I want to start is Google in Africa. Probably the second most exciting news that's come out of Google is the Equiano subsea cable that Google connected between Europe and Africa, which was completed last year. Followed by the most exciting news from Google, which is that they are bringing data centers to Africa for the first time. And some of you might be shocked to learn that Google doesn't have a physical data center in Africa yet, but the service that we use is good. Actually, it's really good. Gmail, YouTube, Search, Drive, Google Meet that we're using right now. It's all remarkably good for a company that doesn't have data centers in Africa, which begs the question, how much better can things get when there are physical data centers in Africa? The first Google Cloud region is coming to Johannesburg. And the Google Cloud region is made up of 3 different zones or 3 different data centers, separated by at least 20 kilometers for redundancy. And Google doesn't build half a data center. They don't build light data centers. So right now we're awaiting the much anticipated press release letting us know when these data centers are coming online. Next, and this is just speculation, Google will probably bring data centers to with the West Africa region of Lagos, since that's the second place where the Equiano cable landed, the first place being Cape Town. And these data centers runs all of Google's cloud services, including Google Workspace and their consumer services. And another fun fact, Google runs 9 different products that serves more than 1 billion users each month. Again, think of YouTube, search, Android, Gmail, Maps, all of those sorts of services. And they serve more than 1 billion users and virtually never go down. That's something to think about. Fun facts and impressive statistics aside, I'd like to jump to the next topic, which is email security in Google Workspace. The one thing you'll always notice about Google is that they take security very seriously. And the same goes for email security. Apart from email protocols like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC that Google helped standardize across the world and was one of the first big platforms to adhere to DMARC standards, they have a vast number of features to help keep your users safe. And if you have a limited understanding of DKIM and DMARC and would like a more comprehensive understanding of it, Radical Cloud Solutions can help you with that too. And to set the stage, whenever we talk about Google Workspace and Gmail and the state-of-the-art security features, we're talking about accessing Gmail or Workspace through the Chrome browser on literally any device, on any operating system. No additional software installations required. We proudly refer to this as a cloud-native platform. Google was born in the cloud for the cloud. So let's take a quick look at some of the defenses that Google applies across the journey of an email into your inbox. Google protects against emails that are not authenticated with SPF and DKIM and pretend to be from your domain. Before malicious email reaches a user, Google is already able to do a pre-delivery scan on those emails and its attachments. This is specifically important since the amount of time it takes for a newly infected user machine to spread malware to other machines in a corporate network is extremely small. Google also has a very narrow window of opportunity in which to detect new threats. Before the email is opened, Google does anti-malware checks and can also take the attachment and detonate it inside of a virtual environment that allows them to see if that attachment has any malicious scripts or unintended behaviors. And this is all done in the few minutes before a user actually clicks on the attachment. Google also does click time antivirus checks and displays warning if links within these emails are sending users to malicious website. Google also warns users when they are sending emails to someone outside of the organization. So also some default on protections, automatically flag emails from untrusted senders that have encrypted attachments or embedded scripts. Warn against emails that tries to spoof employee names or that come from a domain that looks similar to your domain but is not. Scan images for phishing indicators and expand shortened URLs to uncover malicious links. So being able to have security present at every step of the way in its email journey is something that is really important to Google. And it doesn't matter if you're using Windows or Android, iPhone or Chrome OS, your users are always protected because it's a cloud-native system. So now that we know what Google does to keep users safe in Gmail alone, let's look at some of the more impressive numbers. And remember, it's not just Google Workspace that keeps your users safe. It's also the Chrome browser, which is the recommended browser for Google Workspace. And it has built-in antivirus software and anti-hijacking sandboxing technology. It literally sandboxes each individual tab. So should you be on a malicious website on one tab, it can't possibly spread to other tabs inside the Chrome browser or make its way out of the Chrome browser. And taking that one step further, the Chrome browser has morphed into its own operating system known as the Chrome OS, which is impervious to ransomware attacks, by the way. But that's a whole webinar on its own. Now, when looking at the numbers on the screen, please remember that there are 1,440 minutes in a day. But moving on to context-aware access. And this feature does exactly what it says on the box. Being aware of the context of how a Google account is accessed, meaning that after a user successfully authenticates with a username, a password, and a two-step code, you can set additional policies that checks additional context or parameters, such as the geolocation, the IP address, the device status, whether it's company-owned or whether it's a personal device, the hard drive encryption status, or the operating system. So let's take the example of a call center that have agents using Google Workspace. And at this call center, they only want the agents logging into their Workspace accounts from or the CRM system from within the offices that they control, and not from a home network and not from an internet cafe. With context-aware access, you would set a policy that only allows access to the Google services and the third-party CRM when they successfully authenticate from your company network by specifying the IP address of your network that you control. Or another example would be you can set a policy to block access to all Google services when the mobile device becomes compromised, and many more such things. I'll show you guys that in the demo. So next up, we have the Security Center. Now, the Security Center isn't one thing on its own, but rather it's a hub with many features to surface and take action against security threats on your Google Workspace instance. See this as a collection of a variety of features, starting with the security dashboard. Instead of scrolling through Twitter in the mornings, what a security admin should be scrolling through in the mornings is the security dashboard. It's a collection of interactive dashboards that report on spam messages received, login failures, Drive documents shared externally, mobile device management state, and much more. And basically what you're looking for are unintended spikes in traffic. And you'll be able to drill into those dashboards because it's interactive right there and then, and decide if further investigation is needed. And trust me, investigate we will. Next up, we've got the security health page. This is a great page where Google surfaces the findings of custom machine learning algorithms that runs on your configuration of Google Workspace. It will tell you if not all of your users have enrolled for two-step verification like you've asked them, and it'll help you enforce that setting for those users. It'll tell you if you have disabled email forwarding options for your users, which is recommended, so that auto forwarding can't be put in place outside of the domain. And all of this reduces your risk of a data breach or data leakage. And lastly, but certainly not least, we've got the investigation tool. All roads lead to the investigation tool. This forms the foundation of your reporting. And if you're in the dashboard that you should scroll through in the mornings, you can start an investigation right from there without having to input the parameters yourself. Again, I'll show you that in the demo. So when you're looking at a particular dashboard and you want to start investigating the spike that you're seeing in spam messages received or external Drive documents shared externally, you can simply click on a particular icon that takes you straight into the investigation tool and inputs those parameters for you. If a user reports, for an example, that they've created a Google Sheet yesterday and it's very important and they can't find it this morning and Google must have lost that Google Sheet, then firstly, you can ensure them that Google doesn't just lose a file in Google Drive. This isn't Dropbox. And secondly, if you head straight for the investigation tool, what I would do is I would do a search for Drive log events where the actor is the user and the action is deleted, and I would search for all the files that the user have deleted recently. Or I would look for all the files that the user have renamed recently. Maybe they're looking for the wrong named file. It's a very useful reporting and troubleshooting tool indeed. And then lastly, what I want to touch on is another feature that I absolutely love. And it's something that Google brought to Workspace over the last 2 or 3 years. And we still haven't seen enough usage of this, but it's a feature that I'm using currently myself. And it is the ability to sign into Windows using your Google Workspace credentials. So think of single sign-on, but for Windows machines. And this brings the power of Google's two-step verification to the Windows platform. And if that's not enough, you can even manage the Windows device policies like local administrator rights, app installations, VPN settings, hard drive encryption status or BitLocker settings. Added to that, you have the Chrome Remote Desktop extension within the Chrome browser. So if you're not ready to switch over to Chromebooks, you can continue to use your Active Directory and your Windows devices, but manage everything from the Google Workspace admin panel. And speaking of the admin panel, enough with the slideshows. Let's jump into a demonstration of the admin panel.